and welcome here to the home of the Small Champion and of course Ferrari's biggest fan. As today we are going to go to the Red Bull ring, aka the A1 ring, aka the Small Champion ring, the place where I usually always win and where we as Scuderia Ferrari really should have won the day before my birthday, because obviously now for the racing reaction it is my happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Small Champion, happy birthday to me, and happy wedding anniversary also to Angel, Amy, and of course, we were very excited over here, to see how exactly, this magnificent race would pan out. And I have to say, after qualifying, it really looked like, we were set for Ferrari 1-2 and a really great resounding victory. But in the end, what happened? It just got maybe too hot and we melted in the Styrian, the Alps mountain heat, which is very unusual for this track, and it's a real pity because it kind of derailed the great new title challenge that we had, especially with Lewis Hamilton, but also in the Constructors' Championship. So went from bad to worse, but hey, we will still be enjoying our happy birthday over here, and hopefully, as we will be sprinting in Great Britain, it will be better. So over here, you've also seen my race in Canada, because obviously the calendar for the concurrent 2025 season that I'm doing is different from the all new super innovative 2026-2026 season. Here we will take a look at the final standings, which took us almost an hour here to find, as kind of people didn't want to see George Russell winning for the second time. And then we will take a look at the drivers and the Constructors' Championship, and of course we will discuss why the coveted second Ferrari victory of the season hasn't materialized, and obviously the lucky 7 victory here at the Austrian Grand Prix in the end hasn't materialized, because we were almost on pole position. So right from the off, as there is a big heat wave heading right through Europe, and of course it did affect the northern Austria as well. This track being the closest to where I was born, obviously we kind of were thinking that we would go and see the race there. In the end we didn't, and probably it's good given where we eventually finished. But the weather conditions would be quite different of what you are usually used to, with the mild weather, obviously higher altitude, not such high temperatures, maybe even rainy days, right, bit cloudy, which would actually play to our strength, even though in Barcelona we did pretty well. But this track does have a different profile, as you can see on the 2D or the beautiful scarlet red Scuderia Ferrari, the 3D calendar, because it does feature these 3 long straights, especially that middle straight is relatively long, and we lost huge amounts of time, which we could already see in the qualifying, which is a little bit surprising given that there is the new compression ratio that obviously went into effect from June, so it was supposed to kickstart our season. But yes, Barcelona went really well, obviously one of our favorite places, the place where we've been. But in Monaco, and especially here in Austria, we really did struggle to unlock that ultimate performance, which I believe we had here around the circuit. I mean, I always run very well with the Ferrari SA1000 T818 Formula 1 Racing Simulator, but it wasn't the case for Lewis Hamilton and especially for Charles Leclerc. So from the free practices, it was clear that we were not really on the pace, but we were saying that maybe we are sandbagging, maybe we were running the older engine. But yeah, in the end, when the qualifying came in, we really turned it in the qualifying 3, right? And you could have seen that we were at 1-2, then when Verstappen crashed, obviously, tried to overtake us over here, we were celebrating, so thankfully we were not in the Red Bull ring, because I guess, we would have been, gotten swarmed, by the passionate Red Bull or the Dutch fans, which sadly, colored this track in orange and not in a scarlet red. But it also meant a bit of a controversy. George Russell, bit of a lift-off, but sometimes the lift-off can help you recharge the battery, and actually you can then even set almost an identical final sector. So in terms of the safety, that was surprising that there was not a WL or even a red flag, which would have granted us the 1-2, which we really deserved. As a result, that put Russell in a great position to start the race from pole position. But hey, fast starting Ferraris, shouldn't have a problem with him, right? But as you do know, the season is evolving, and now our blistering starts are maybe a thing of a past. Again, there is a short run, into turn 1, but I believe, when the 5 red lights went out, obviously huge expectation on the 20th of June, the day before my birthday and our happy wedding anniversary, as obviously everybody, was around, really expecting a big race. When the 5 red lights went out, Russell did a good job to chop across, defend from Leclerc, but, of course, Lewis Hamilton didn't get such a great start from the 3rd position, but again, had a good run-up. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, like he said, post-race was probably a bit too excited, ran wide, and, at that point, it was actually good for Hamilton's title challenge, right? Then what happened was that obviously Leclerc did try, to attack George Russell, ran a bit wide, and Hamilton got on him, but of course that also meant that George Russell was able to build a bit of a breathing space, right? So again, we didn't want to see both of the Ferraris fighting. We wanted to, see Swan George again, maybe playing with a different strategy, and for a while it looked like, right? And with Hamilton being ahead of Leclerc, maybe there was a preferred strategy. Obviously it would work out well for a championship, especially with Antonelli dropping behind, or having trouble to stay ahead of the Red Bull and being under investigation. All of a sudden we would cut, maybe 6 or 8 points out of Antonelli's lead. That would be obviously going to 35 or 33 in a championship. And for a while it looked good, that we were putting Russell under pressure, but suddenly Leclerc started dropping off, and then crucially also Hamilton. And what happened was that Antonelli first had a go at Charles, and with a bit of a crazy move into turn 1. Usually that's not that preferred overtaking spot, but I guess nowadays when you get an overtake, you can overtake pretty much anywhere. But he ran wide, and I believe Leclerc damaged a bit of a car because he also had to run a bit over that elevated sausage curve. We didn't see anything flying out of the car, but his pace wasn't the same after. Crucially though, it allowed the crashing Verstappen from the 5th place to go past, Antonelli and Leclerc, right? Antonelli had to let Leclerc go, and it had a big repercussions on how the race eventually finished. So, now we were running 2nd and 4th. At the end of the day, Charles then lost the position to Antonelli when he simply ran out of the battery, going over the crest to the final 2 turns. With Hamilton, obviously, he was actually doing pretty well, but then there was a massive fight between him and Verstappen, who caught him up, tried to overtake him again, being a bit rusty, being a bit, like his moves are pretty much like, I just dive bomb you. But Hamilton did a fantastic job to always, get him out, coming out of the turn 3 into the turn 4, doing great job, overtaking Verstappen and then giving him a taste of his own medicine as he pretty much checkmated him. And then, we were one of the first to stop, right? And we went from medium, everybody started on medium, to the hard tire. But unlike in Barcelona, we were not able to take a 1-2 seconds. Of course, this track is a bit shorter, but not that much shorter than Barcelona's track, and only being 5-7 up to tenths or up to 1 second faster just wasn't good enough for Hamilton, who then also had to go through the traffic. But then when Russell and Verstappen stopped, we were again only a couple of seconds from Russell, again in front of Verstappen, so nothing was lost. But I think the mistake was when the VSC, the virtual safety car, came out. Thankfully Mercedes played wrong with Antonelli, who stopped a bit too early, so he didn't get any advantage. Otherwise he would actually, I'm sure, be the winner of this pulsating race. But for Hamilton, I don't understand why we stopped, move on to the soft tires. Okay, I can understand, but at that point, of course, yeah, Verstappen, he overtook us, with a bit of a crazy move, heading into that turn 6 over there. But we were still there in and about, right? And of course, we were crucially in front of Antonelli. Again, this is also turning into the championship fight. So, I believe with a better start, that would have helped us greatly, because the car simply started overheating, right? And, with lots of the fighting, especially with Red Bull, that was costly. But I think this pit stop was very costly, because it dropped us back even behind Verstappen's teammate Hajar. And of course Hamilton was able to overtake him, stay behind Piastri, overtake Leclerc again, but then Leclerc would stop, right, and Hamilton would stop. Of course Leclerc would get ahead of Hamilton, then Lewis would have to overtake again, and that just cost you lots of time, which is why in the end we won by over 20 seconds and we were behind by over 20 seconds. And crucially, we allowed one of the orange unfashionable cars, McLaren, to get ahead of us, and Hamilton simply wasn't able to overtake Piastri, even though at certain point it looked like he would get him. But especially with Leclerc, being very slow heading into turn 3, it was just like he was inviting the cars to go, and at that point it was critical that he would held up Piastri, so maybe Hamilton would get him. He didn't, and that was pretty much the race over. Then the top 3, Antonelli running, a great strategy, almost one stop that I almost managed to pull off, before here at the Red Bull Ring, managed to pretty much, at the end, he started really, he eventually stopped, changed to the 2 stops, so Hamilton was the only one who stopped 3 times, and then he was really reeling in, Verstappen and Russell, and in the end, he was right on the tail of Verstappen. What a pity he didn't overtake him. I even told my angel lady, hey, I'm his fan, because I really want, Verstappen to get overtaken, by a teenager. That would be a cherry on the cake in terms of, getting some revenge at him, because he was way too tough with Hamilton. Again, there is no love lost when these two are racing, but yeah, in the end, Russell won relatively comfortably, but had to probably manage the race. But Antonelli was definitely the quickest, throughout, and we simply overheated. So it was critical, I think, at the beginning, that we shouldn't fight with each other. We should get Russell right, overtake him at least with one of the cars, perhaps 2. That was the critical to our race. But really, if the race control would have been, true to their, focus on safety, and we would have started at 1 and 2, I believe we had a fantastic chance, to win, especially with Hamilton, who did seem, to be better, especially on the brakes, which Leclerc still strangely struggled with. So a huge pity, because, we wanted to celebrate again for the second time in June, for the second time in a row, before our name's day, and then after our name's day, and right before, to celebrate the happy birthday. And of course, because the Canadian GP, as you've seen, we also haven't won, but hey, stay tuned for the real Austrian GP, which in 2025 took place on my happy birthday, to probably stay tuned for some victories, but we will let you wait one more week for that fantastic performance that I can put here in the place that's closest to where I was born. But yeah, overall disappointing, bad strategy. Again, we will have some upgrades, but it was really the straight line speed and the overheating that cost us dearly. So now let's turn around the Scarlet Red Retina iMac to see how the race actually finished, so that you can see over here. So let's the official F1 website, they didn't quite show this, at the end of their official race highlights. So for the first time, we really had to search for a long time over here to see the official F1 TV standings. So over here you have George Russell winning for Mercedes, from Max Verstappen and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, again within 2 seconds over here. So, that will put, I guess, a lot of doubt into Russell's mind, but he is now his closest challenger in a championship, as we will shortly see. Then we had Oscar Piastri and Lewis Hamilton. They really should have been 4th over here, but that strategy was I believe wrong. The track position over here, this track is a bit different from Barcelona, because you don't have so many long sweeping corners. So on the straights you can simply keep the tires alive for longer, so maybe 2 stop was really quicker. 6th then Isaac Hadjar for Red Bull, thankfully didn't close down closer to Hamilton. 7th Lando Norris, and 8th Charles Leclerc, who even made one more stop with 10 laps to go, because obviously we had a big gap to the 2 Racing Bulls. So a relatively successful race, probably the best race of the season for Red Bulls and Racing Bulls at their home Grand Prix. 9 Liam Lawson and 10 Arvid Lindblad. So yeah, this definitely sets us back over here. But you guys, this is how it looks like in the Drivers' Championship first. So let's take a look at it for the 2026 Formula 1 Drivers' Championship. Andrea Kimi Antonelli has again shown that he has all the signs of the champion in this round 10, what's effectively the round 8 of the championship, because we only really still race 8 times in the 2026 season, considering that we had almost 4 months since the cars debuted. That's kind of a throwback to the past, but there will be lots of races still coming up. So nothing is lost. George Russell on 131 points is now 2nd. Lewis Hamilton 3rd on 125 points. again, now we are obviously 46 points behind, but we are going to go to Great Britain. It is the sprint with cooler temperatures and perhaps, Ferrari being more competitive through some of the sweeping corners like Meggetts and Beckett's or Stove. As I, for example, personally found out, I think we have a great chance to score our second victory there, and obviously Hamilton will want to win in front of his home crowd. Fourth is now Oscar Piastri for McLaren, surprisingly, so he's on 80 points. So it's pretty much these three fighting for a championship. Fifth, Lando Norris, the reigning world champion for McLaren, is on 79 points. Sixth, Charles Leclerc, Ferrari. We cannot believe he's only 6 now. 79 points and whooping 46 points behind Lewis Hamilton. So, I guess, that's it for Leclerc for the season, unless he can produce some magic. But at the tracks like Great Britain, Belgium, he has never been that strong there, whereas Hamilton will be strong there. So we will see what will happen. Max Verstappen is 7 for Red Bull Racing, 73 points. Claw back some points a little, but obviously out of the title fight. 8, Isaac Hadjar, Red Bull Racing, 42 points. So kind of your top 8 are there. 9, Pierre Gasly, Alpine, 41 points. Just to illustrate how bad the damage on Leclerc's car was that when Gasly came out, he was 1 lap down, but he was able to keep up with Leclerc, who obviously pretty much almost started on pole position. So was it the setup? Was it a bad strategy, bad deployment? The way we maybe deployed the energy was simply wrong here at the circuit. A bit disappointing because Gasly was obviously all over us. 10th is then Liam Lawson for Racing Bulls, 30 points. 11, Oliver Behrman has 18 points. 12 is Franco Colapinto, Alpine, 16 points. 13 is Arvid Lindblad, Racing Bulls, 14 points. 14, Carlos Sainz Williams, 6 points. 15, Alexander Albon, Williams, 5 points. 16, we then have Esteban Ocon, has 3 points. Again, lots of speculation about his future. Again, didn't do so well in this race. 17 is then Gabriel Bortoleto, Audi, 2 points. 18, Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin, 1 point. Still without a point. 19, Nico Hülkenberg, Audi, 0 points. He better start picking up some points. There is some talk of Sainz maybe going to Audi, so he better watch it. 20th is then Valtteri Bottas, Cadillac, 0 points. 21st, Sergio Perez, Cadillac, 0 points. 22nd, of course, who other than Lance Stroll, Aston Martin, 0 points. So this is how it looks like in the driver's table. In the Constructors' Championship for the 2026-2027 season, Mercedes is the first team to go into 300 points on 302 points, and we as Scuderia Ferrari are 98 points behind, 204 points. So again, we cannot have another weekend like this. Third is McLaren, 159 points, and then we have fourth Red Bull, 115 points. Fifth Alpine, 57 points. 6 Racing Bulls, 44 points. 7 Haas, 21 points. 8 Williams, 11 points. 9 Audi, 2 points. 10 Aston Martin, 1 point. Cadillac, the new team, the newcomers, are dead last on 0 points. Yeah, so this is how the constructors table looks like. This is how the drivers table looks like. And yes, this is, we were chasing this for almost an hour. Congratulations to George Russell for winning for the first time since Australia. I guess he likes the tracks that start with A. But, I'm afraid that this was another race where Antonelli showed that he has an upper pace over him. So over here, a bit bittersweet, but obviously, this is a power circuit, so clearly we are down on the power, but we will have some great, the new from Shell, as you can see, one of our partners. Obviously, the long-standing partner will definitely give us a better fuel so that we can deliver more from the ICE, the internal combustion engine, and especially from the battery, because actually it's like the 5th, 6th, 7th gear, where we are really losing. Definitely check out on the F1 website the Ghost Lab to see exactly, what I'm talking about. So I think if we can sort this out, again, that Barcelona performance was very encouraging, but another track like Barcelona will be Belgium. We will see what happens in Great Britain, but if we don't overheat, again, the pace was kind of there in the qualifying, so we are staying optimistic. But for now, we will enjoy the happy birthday. For us, it was a Ferrari 1-2 in Canada, so I hope you enjoy me getting back into the top of the championship as the Jan de Smaliksan champion. Obviously, that was a fantastic performance, over there. Just what a pity I didn't get a good start, but when you will see the Austrian Grand Prix, how I manage it, man, I should have been driving driving here because I'm just the best. That's why the Red Bull ring, the A1 ring should be called the Jan de Smelling Sun Champion ring, because I pretty much always win or finish second or within a second of a minute over here at this magnificent track, the closest to the place where I was born on this very day, the June 29, and actually very, very early in the morning when we are recording this great video. So everybody, let's sing the very special race reaction happy birthday song to Jan de Smelling Sun Champion and Ferrari's biggest fan and Ferrari's fastest driver. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Smelling Sun Champion, happy birthday to Jan. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. We didn't hear the national anthem of Ferrari, but you guys, we hope that you will enjoy this magnificent super hot start to the summer season, the hottest summer at least in plenty of places, you know, in on the earth, especially in a place where I was born. Yeah, I cannot wait again to jump into the top class, see and enjoy it. But before that, we have plenty of races, 3 more races before the summer break to go. So everybody, all we can say is that we love